We got a few predictions for 2021.
What does the crystal ball say? Hi there, I'm Ilana.
And I'm Frank.
From the website lifewellcruise.com. Welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we're going to talk all about trends
And predictions
for the cruise industry in 2021. Now, I did want to mention that before we get started, if you like the video, then please do give it a big thumbs up. We really appreciate it. And of course, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Okay, let's get started. To keep ourselves on track, first we're going to talk about the trends, then we're going to talk predictions, and we're also going to talk about what we would like to see from the cruise lines. So the first thing is technology. This is the biggest trend for cruising in 2021. We know in 2020, we all got more used to technology. We became light years ahead. Cruise lines are the same. And in 2021, they are using technology as a big part of how they are going to make things safer and better for cruises.
Yeah, for example, the Ocean Medallion is a good example of this.
Absolutely.
I mean, this is something that started already a few years ago, but I think they're going to be moving ahead on that with improving it more and more throughout 2021.
True.
And we're seeing the same thing also from Royal Caribbean with their app. What is it called? The mustard.
Well, they have the e-muster, which is amazing.
But there are other things too, right?
You know, there's no more mustard.
That's
really.
right.
That's completely gone. So super.
Yeah. So I think we're going to probably be seeing more of that also from Royal Caribbean and other cruise lines as well.
Absolutely. And this includes even like tracking technology. And in the negative side, we can think of it, but it also really does help with not only this virus, it helps for everything really.
Yeah.
So and the Ocean Medallion really has been using this technology, and it doesn't really mean that they're actually tracking or tracing us to really watch everything that we're doing, but they are able then to use this for crowd control.
Exactly.
And to schedule different things, to know which events are popular or not popular. So it is really something quite good.
It's a great technology in the end, right? It comes in very handy, and
yeah,
I don't know, I have no problem with it.
Yeah, and it includes even like touchless technology for when we board the ship. And it includes like even food delivery, drink delivery. So it is going to be overall really something quite good, actually, and a big trend for all of the cruise lines going forward for 2021. Second trend that we're going to be seeing in 2021, and I think this is going to continue all through 22, 23, 24, and so on. And it's really important for the future of the cruise industry. And this is that cruise ships are going to be more environmentally friendly, more green. So yeah, definitely a good thing. We have the Carnival Mardi Gras that's out. They have an LNG propulsion system. Being honest, I don't even know what it does. But it is better for the environment. We also have Virgin Voyages, who have a cruise ship out that is better for the environment. And we have MSC Cruises as well. So this is definitely a trend going forward.
Trend number 3 is booking bucket list. Booking, what is it? Bucking list cruise.
I'm going to let you keep going. Bucket list cruises.
Trend number 3, booking bucket list cruises.
So, bucket list cruises, being honest, Frank had a hard time saying that one. So that's why.
It took me about 3 or 4 tries.
Right. But it's actually a booking trend. So while the bucket list cruises, I don't think a lot of them are actually going to be happening in 2021. There are really these travel restrictions that we can't get to all the places in the world that we would like to get to, but we are definitely seeing booking trends showing that for 2022 and even into 2023, if possible, people are definitely booking their bucket list cruises. So,
and my bucket list cruise is going to be Alaska.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
So bucket list cruises could be Alaska, could be those destinations, Australia, Galapagos, but it also, and I've seen this a lot in Facebook groups and on message boards, is the New Year's sailings, the Christmas cruises. So really doing those cruises that are wish list cruises for people. So definitely, and if there's anything I think we really have learned from this whole time, it's that we can't take time for granted. We're not guaranteed tomorrows, and
absolutely,
we kind of have to we have to plan for those special things in life.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 4, group cruising.
So group cruising is definitely a trend in 2021. And this is very different from the years before where multi-generational travel was a trend. Now, I'm not saying that group cruises can't be with multi-generations, but I think the reality of 2021 is that there are some limitations for people with maybe health problems. There are some people who are not going to want to go on a cruise in 2021. And even planning into 2022 might be hard. I know some people don't want to cruise. Some people want to wait until they've had a vaccine and time has passed. So hard to plan those multi-generational cruises, even though they are amazing. And I definitely suggest them. We did it. And fabulous. But I think those group cruises where you actually have groups of people who just love to cruise and you cruise with friends.
Yeah, which is something that, over the last year we haven't been able to do. So I think it'll be nice to get together as friends again and organize a group cruise.
So group cruises for 2021, big trend. Number five. Number five is more of a reverse trend. And this has to do with formal nights and classic cruising. And really, it's born out of the year that we couldn't cruise.
Right. And it's just, going out there and dressing up again, feeling glamorous.
So you could actually imagine this happening, that formal nights and chic nights and stuff, that'll really come back and people will want to dress up again.
I think so, yeah. Especially after the year we had. I think people will want that. Definitely.
Yeah. And I know even for me, like getting a little bit more dressed up, I kind of like the idea for a future cruise.
Yeah.
Yourself?
Yeah, I would do it again. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Let us know, though, for you, if you prefer on your next cruise to get a little more glammed up, get back that classic cruising formal night kind of look, or if you prefer to keep it casual. There's no right or wrong, but let us know in the comments below. Now, we're going to move on to the predictions, but if you are liking this video, please do give it a thumbs up. We really appreciate it, and of course, YouTube does too. So please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. So first prediction has to do with Alaska sailings. Well, I think Alaska sailings are actually in some jeopardy, unfortunately, for 2021. And that is because Alaska sailings, the season actually starts in April. And while I think that they may still salvage the season, I just don't think it's going to happen for April.
No. And I think that's going to cut their season short, right? Even if it would start up maybe later in July or August, it's going to be a very short season. So will that even happen at all?
I think it will. Personally, I think the season will. I think that things are honestly, like by the time cruising actually gets back, once the vaccine gets into the population, I think that that'll be helpful. I just can't see it starting up in April or even May. We also have Canada, and we are Canadian, by the way, but we have Canada who up until February has blocked cruise ships from coming into Canada. And of course, they could extend that further. And they've been really conservative about travel restrictions and stuff. So I imagine that that will continue for a little while longer. So my guess, pure prediction here, is I think Alaska cruises will be restarting in June. Next prediction, let's talk pricing. Do you think that pricing is going up or down?
I think it's going up. And I think the reason for that is that, they're going to have to make up for lost revenue.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think revenue, they also have a lot less product that's out. Like not all the cruise ships are going to be restarting at the same time. Yes. However, I do think 2021 is one thing, but when we're heading into 2022 and 2023, they're going to have more inventory. And without having new cruisers that are really booking, it's a lot of repeat passengers. They always need to have new cruisers booking. So they're going to have incentives for people to book.
Oh, absolutely.
So it might be that pricing will come down a little bit, or it might be maybe that there's going to be more offered. So there's a little bit more value. Perhaps that'll be that.
Number 3, vaccines.
All right, this one is a little bit controversial. And of course, there are people who are pro-vaccine, people who are less pro-vaccine, and it's really just come out. So I actually don't think we know all the answers, but cruise lines are leaning towards making this mandatory. We have heard this from cruise line CEOs. Do you think it will be mandatory, though?
Yeah, that's something I am still giving it some thought, actually, but because they're kind of leaning towards that already, from like you said, we've heard from the CEOs, and I think they're starting to give us a little bit of a heads up on that this is a big possibility. So I have a feeling they're going to go towards that. That's kind of my prediction, yes.
So I think that's possible. I do still think, though, that they are still looking at this. We have a couple of things. We have the fact that it's not accessible to everybody just yet. And how much time will it take for it to be accessible? And it has to be accepted by the population. We have to know what's going to happen with people who have allergies, if there are going to be some exemptions. I think that there's a little more to it than them making it blanket, that it has to be. I do think, however, that it will be strongly recommended. So in my opinion, in 2021, it'll be a strong recommendation. It may not be mandatory. My thought on it, I'd like to know from you what you think.
Number 4, Will cruise lines go bankrupt?
Ooh, gosh, that was something so talked about in 2020, but they haven't gone bankrupt yet. No. And they honestly have secured so much funds that I don't think they will. But I do think it's a possibility that within the different groups, for instance, there's Carnival Group, Royal Caribbean Group, there's the Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings. I do think it's possible that we will see at least one cruise line, possibly more, that if this goes on for too long a time with restrictions, there is a possibility of bankruptcy. I do think that that's possible. I think so too. Yeah. Do you want to tell us which cruise line you think, or cruise lines?
Well, my prediction, I guess, it would be, I think Holland America is a possibility.
Now, this is controversial, and if you are a Holland America cruiser, we are not saying it's going to go bankrupt. This is our own perspective. We were talking about this earlier today. And one of the reasons is because we're looking at the demographic on Holland America. It really is a lot of older passengers. We're looking also at Holland America and other cruise lines that for the beginning, when cruise lines do return, we know that there are some restrictions to people that have different medical issues. Cruise lines have been sending out emails to a lot of their passengers. This includes like on Cunard, for instance. Right. And I do think if we're looking at the demographic on Holland America, this will have a big effect early on. If they can hold on for longer, it shouldn't be a problem. Holland America is an amazing cruise line, but they also just haven't managed to make inroads in other generations.
I think they tried even at one point, but
they did try, and I think they were on their way to something, but it hasn't really quite caught on that they're really that the other generations have really embraced Holland America as much as maybe the grandparents. And I think that's the reality. Plus, they actually do a lot of exotic and longer itineraries. That's and while that's amazing, it's just not good in this situation. So can they hold off? Can they rebrand a little bit? Maybe.
I guess we'll see.
Number 5, when will cruises actually start and how? That is the question that we are all asking. So, of course, let's just say that we do not have a crystal ball. So we do not know when cruises are going to restart. I could pick something very negative and I can say next year in 2022, but I'm not going to do that. I am going to say I think that they are going to restart in April, of course, with short cruises. But I do think that once they restart, because we will already have those vaccines, and I think that the world will be in a different place by then, I do think things are going to ramp up much quicker. And I think we're going to see Bahamas and Caribbean cruising and Bermuda cruising. We are going to see that by summertime.
Oh, I get the feeling that you maybe are looking into a crystal ball, because that sounds right to me. And finally, what do we want from the cruise industry?
Well, I think what we really want to see from the cruise industry is maybe helping to restore confidence in the cruise industry. And this will be helpful for cruise passengers. This will be helpful for new cruisers. This will be helpful for destinations, for travel agents, because the reality is that 2020 has really pummeled the cruise industry. They have got so much bad press over the COVID situation. And of course it wasn't their fault, but it's been just a year where everything kind of came together, but they really need to do a lot of PRing, a lot of lobbying to get their message out that cruising is safe, that cruising does not carry this virus or any other virus. And I mean, even if we look at the technology that some of the cruise lines are using to have clean air on board, it is pretty amazing. But they have to share that with mainstream media and, you know, maybe in other ways and not just within the cruise community. Yeah, because definitely something that I see personally is that a lot of people who are new cruisers are definitely hesitant now to cruise. And I think that it'll take time for confidence to come back. But I think that the cruise lines have to find a way to spread that message. And maybe we all have to find a way to spread that message. Yes, you know, some people, we have a YouTube channel. So of course, these are things that we talk about.
You'll be hearing it from us for sure.
And in my blog and on Facebook groups. But each one of you, when each of us cruises, we in a way influence the people around us. And I think that that is something really important. We all have a job to do. And finally, we want to say a super big thank you to each and every one of you for watching our videos and hanging out with us through this year of not cruising in 2020. Now, if you did like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. We appreciate it so much. And of course, please subscribe to the channel so you can hang out with us for more videos.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays and all the best for 2021.